Have you ever been eating one of your favorite dishes, but something about the pork tastes a bit off? That could be the work of the butcher or Robert Picton, and what you're tasting might be human flesh. When I think of farmers, I think of the Rankins from Curious George, but the Picton family farm was far beyond the cartoons. It's believed his murders started in the 1980s in Guelph, British Columbia, on his family farm, but things go further downhill in 1996. The Picton brothers would begin to neglect the farm and throw huge raves with up to 2,000 people. Sex workers and even members of Hell's Angels would frequent these parties. In March 1997, Picton was charged with an indictable offense. Indictable offenses are the most serious offenses under the criminal code, and they come with more serious punishments. Picton was charged with attempted murder after allegedly stabbing a woman, but charges were dropped after a few months. This leads to Bill Hiscox, the man who first tipped off the police about Picton. Over the course of 3 years, Hiscox noticed women who visited the farm eventually went missing. February 6, 2002, police got a search warrant for illegal firearms, which is a hybrid law in Canada, meaning it could go either way, being an indictable offense or a summary offense. A summary offense can be thought of as a petty crime, as they are the least serious types of offenses under the Criminal Code of Canada. Finally, February 22nd, 2002, Robert Picton was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for 2 women. In the span of the next 3 years, he'd be charged with 27 first-degree murders, but later on he would confess to 49 after confessing to an undercover cop posing as a cellmate.
I was doing my work, mainly 50. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
In 2007, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. As it turns out, Picton would bring women to the farm and then kill them. Some say he fed the bodies to the pigs, while others say he ground up the human flesh and mixed it with ground pork. Either way, this led to the largest investigation of any serial killer in Canadian history. No matter how long he spends behind bars, that'll never bring back the ones he killed or stop the grief from loved ones today. Not all of Canada's notorious serial killers are numbskulls. Some plan out every step and every detail to get their victims at their weakest. Enter Russell Maurice Johnson, or better known as the Bedroom Strangler. He started in 1973 in London and Guelph, Ontario. For most people, it's safe to assume that if you're off the ground floor of an apartment building, it's safe to say that no one's breaking in from the outside. But Johnson worked meticulously and would make sure no one knew of his crimes. He was known to scale up to 15 stories to reach his intended victim's window, and in October the 19th, 1973, he finally murdered his first victim. He cleaned the crime scene and put a body in a natural position. With nothing else to go off of, the police presumed she died of natural causes, and moved on. The next 3 women Johnson cleaned the crime scene in the same way. They were all presumed to be dead of natural causes. After 2 more victims, he stopped trying to hide the evidence. December 1974, a woman's body was found by her fiancé. The next victim was stabbed to death. One victim, he had scaled the building, then strangled her to death. In 1977, Russell was arrested for the 3 murders, all indictable offenses. In 1969, many years prior, he was diagnosed as a sexual deviant, but at a psychiatric hospital, he didn't receive proper care. During the trial, Johnson explained how he was an uncontrollable rapist and had the urge to kill. He admitted to 4 of the murders and 11 assaults. Because of his insanity, he was found not guilty and spends the rest of his days confined in the Waypoint Center for Mental Health Care. At least, he can never hurt anyone else anymore.